Good Erev Shabbos. Every year as we read the Parsha, we have to try to look at the Parsha from the mature place that we're in right now, and not from the little child picture that we were given when we were young. So how do we understand Mechiras Yosef? Right now, where we're holding, in this world, in our consciousness, how do we understand brothers selling Yosef at Tzaddik? We're talking about clearly very, very righteous people, very big people. These were people that are the establishers, the Yud Beis Shvatim. That means the 12 different paths that we have. In fact, Al Pi Kabbalah, in davening itself, there are 12 different paths that you could take in order to get to the Rabbeinu Shalom, and they're all carved out by these tzaddikim. They were obviously something special. So is it possible that these guys decided, the Shvatim decided, let's sell Yosef? That's why? Because he has a special jacket, Ksenis Pasim, a little bit like my sweater, that no one else, that we don't have. And therefore we're going to sell. What's Pshat? So I was reading the Tasha Rebbe. Heilige Tasha Rebbe says such a beautiful, beautiful explanation. And on a much more mature level, Al Pi Kabbalah. And he begins with explaining the idea of tzimtzum, which is basically when in a time of creation, when the first thing that people study in Kabbalah is a concept of tzimtzum. Tzimtzum means that there was an infinite light, and that's how creation began. And then the infinite light had to have what's called the shvira. The shvira came from the shvira sakelim, because the infinite light was trying to be concentrated into kelim, into vessels. And there was a shattering of the vessels without going into the entire tzimtzum itself, which is not the purpose of this shir. But based on this concept, says the Tasha Rebbe, that there was an infinite light and it was constricted. And our job is to be able to see that after the constriction, where all this infinite light is placed in different parts of vessels and different parts of creation, and it looks like there's separation, our job is every single day to say, Shema Yisrael, Hashem Elokeinu, Hashem Echad, that we recognize that everything is one. The Rambam says the most difficult concept to understand is the oneness of the Rabbeinu Shalom. It's because we have to somehow be able to look at everything that looks benifrad, looks separated, and understand that it's all part of this infinite light of the Rabbeinu Shalom. What has this got to do with the Shvatim? When it comes to the Makor HaBracha, what's the source of blessing, the source of Hashpah? So in Kabbalah it says that Tzaddik Yisoid Olam. Now they have a song, Tzaddik Yisoid Olam. It comes to what's called one of the midos called Yisoid. Right before Yisoid, before Malchus, there's Yisoid. Who represents Yisoid? Yosef HaTzadik. Yosef HaTzadik represents the Yosef, and we see this throughout Yosef's history, that he ends up being the Mizan, Umefalnus, Umechalkel. He's a sustainer, he's the one that gives all the source of bracha. And Yosef understood this. And when he came to the brothers with his dreams, it wasn't because I want to tell you a dream, and then I'm going to tell you again, and you're going to hate me more. There was a purpose, because he was trying to explain to him, that to them, to the brothers, that there's a gift that was given to him, and the bracha is going to come through him. And the brothers on their level couldn't take it. As the Torah says, vayekanu vayechov. Yes, there was some jealousy. And this lesson is not just about, of course, the brothers. It's every one of us. How many times we are today in life, and someone says something to us, or we hear about someone else, and jealousy is waking up inside of us. And that jealousy, that renewed jealousy, makes us say something negative. Instead of saying, wow, that's great, that person's doing wonderful. That person has that house, that person has this, doing this. Wonderful. Why? Because it's all one. And at the end of the day, whoever the tzaddik Yesod Olam is, the tzaddikim that we're supposed to attach them to ourselves to, it's a source of blessing for all of us. And that's an incredible lesson. Listen to this. Last night, I had a game against my son. And it's interesting because Chazal say that everything a person is jealous of, except when it comes to one's son. I was thinking, is that only true by ruchni, spiritual, or also by basketball? Anyway, I went over to my wife, and before the game I needed a bracha. And I said, so who are you rooting for? So she said, it's interesting, because your son, who is a 10th grader, when I asked him, who should I root for? He said, what do you mean? You should root for both of us. Your son and your husband. And yes, my son creamed me. At least 4 3-pointers right in front of my face. And I was happy. Havai, I should be happy. Havai, we should all be happy no matter who we see with success. It should be like we're one. That's the concept of infinite light. That's the concept of Hashem Elokeinu, Hashem Echad, and that's, I think, the lesson we could take from this week's Parsha. Have a good Shabbos.